From now on, we are enemies. You and I.
Well, I have played quite a bit of Dragon's Dogma 2 now. My thoughts are, it's good. It's not what I was wanting in Dogma 2, but I do like it. I like the minimalistic changes, like curatives. There's only a few now instead of like 1,000 different ones. And I like how the specialty arrows require a skill to use. I like that not all have easy access to debilitations. Like Sleep is just Magic Archer now. That's awesome. I love that. I like that Silence is Mage only, or you could use Spell Tome as another vocation. I would have rather no Spell Tomes were in the game, but it's fine. I like the Stealth edition with Thief, sneak attack damage, and the stealth aspects. I like Warrior. Now has more defense options. Some things that I do not like. The regional enemy thresholds, such as the goblins near Vernworth, take one hit with Dagger A, but the goblins in the volcanic region take 20 hits from that same dagger. It's too broad of a region. They didn't have that in Dragon's Dogma 1. You could use the same weapon throughout the whole Gransys. It's just story progression when you got to post-game. Then there were thresholds. We just become too strong with high-tier weapons, so the solution is to use low-tier weapons, which is fine for some regions, but later, those regions, the low-tier weapons just will not do. I don't like the inventory and sorting inventory, or the shop. You can't sort when looking at a shop. If I wanted to just see thief armor, I have to sift through all the other armors. Or when switching a vocation, you're required to go into your separate inventory outside of the vocation to equip your gear. Don't really dig that. There's actually not that much that I do not like. I like that there is no fast travel, personally. I wish there was maybe a difficulty slider in settings so that we could change and select fast travel or no fast travel. We could select stamina use while running or not. Maybe in that slider we could change enemy population per spawn, or enemy awareness, or enemy aggression, all within sliders to make, difficulties depending on what you want to do. If you want to be able to fast travel and run around without stamina, but still have hard enemies. The armors, overall, they look good, but we do have less options than we did in Dogma 1. I don't like any of the thief armors, so my thief just goes shirtless. I don't really like much of the warrior or fighter armors either. Magic Archer and Mystic Spearhand armors, those look really good. But everyone is going to end up wearing the same exact set, which was their reasoning to remove the layered armor option. They said players ended up wearing all the same gear at the end of Dragon's Dogma 1. And well, it's the same here. Everyone is going to wear the same end gear. Well, not everyone. I know some won't. Instead, they go with fashion, like myself and others. And I've played Dragon's Dogma 2, most of the vocations. I played through the storyline 3 times now. I do like Fighter. it's pretty similar to Dogma 1. It's more of a tank aggro focus rather than like damage. In Dogma 1, we could get fighter to deliver pretty high damage and pretty sufficient going solo. Dogma 2 can get that as well, but it's different. It's not super powerful like it was in Dogma 1. But still, fighter is fun here. I like the new skills. I like the perfect block. It feels a little slower overall as a fighter compared to Dogma 1, but it fits in well, and it makes sense. I like Archer surprisingly more than I expected. I really like that you now have to use a skill to use the specialty arrows. Like the tarring arrow, you have to have a specific skill allotted for using a tarring arrow or explosive arrow. Or the blighting arrow, which is just poison, but poison is still weak here in Dragon's Dogma 2. Really only a few games have applied a good poison system, and really all poison ever needs is just a stackable system, like a bleeding effect. But as it is now with blighting poison arrows, just like in Dogma 1, it's not really worth it. The dodge roll is missed with Archer. Those kickbacks and slides are not really the easiest to rely on compared to a dodge. But I do like Thief having dodge only. No other vocation can have it, so I do appreciate that. And if that causes Archer not to have dodge, then so be it, it's worth it. Fighter's the only one with shield. You know, that's how the classes work. Those are the consequences of choosing your vocation. With Archer, Deathly Arrow is good. The Heavenly Arrow is also cool. I don't like the Manifold Shot. It looks like it would be high damage, but it's not. It's pretty low damage. Tempest Shot is the same. They can do good on big enemies, like the weak spot of the Ogre's Head, for example, but outside of some scenarios, that Manifold and Tempest just don't really do all that much damage. I am enjoying Warrior. It's slower than Dogma 1 overall, but that's probably because we don't have the jump light attack anymore like we had in Dogma 1. That was Warrior's fast attack. Now, Warrior's fast attack is Barge, or Pummel Bash, which I use often. You can stun enemies with Barge and then have enough time to charge an easy attack. The addition to height attacks for Warrior is great. Being able to reach harpies or to reach giants without having to climb them or jump. Warrior does not seem to be as gimped here as it was in Dogma 1, but still, Warrior is going to be the vocation that is the hardest to play, especially as solo. Even Fighter will be tough. Fighter and Warrior are both going to find it hard to solo with ghost enemies, probably, but actually ghost enemies aren't going to be too troublesome because they're quite a lot easier in Dogma 2, since now we can attack them with unenchanted weapons, and then also we can still attack them when they've latched onto us. Thank goodness. But those blobs or slimes, whatever they're called, they will pose a big problem for fighter and warrior in the solo aspect. And I don't like sorcerer, or mage really. I barely liked sorcerer in Dogma 1. Miasma is really what made me at least play sorcerer. Sorcerer is probably big fun for many, but not for me. We lost Miasma, and we only gained like 3 new spells, which are just slightly better than the mage's 3 elementals. Bolide, or Meteoron, is good. Maelstrom is good. But a solo sorcerer isn't going to make sense here in Dogma 2. We could solo sorcerer in Dogma 1 because of Miasma and Maelstrom, and we could sneak attack on unaware enemies, but here we don't have those kind of spells that we can place far ahead and take out rooms before they even see us. And then mage play style, not for me, but I can definitely see the value of a pawn, and that's probably what mage is mostly going to be, is just for the pawn aspect. I mean, there's plenty of people who would enjoy playing as a mage themselves. I can't do it. And I like Magic Archer pretty well. I'm not in love with it. I didn't like it at first, but when I reached rank 5, I unlocked a core skill, I can't remember what it was, that made things much more smooth for that vocation. Magic Archer kind of only has 2 worthy skills for damage, and both are overpowered within their own realm. Ricochet in caves is just as crazy as it was in Dogma 1, and then the Martyr's Bolt is, it's a boss killer. Really, you can kill anything with only removing a third of your health, so you can easily abuse Martyr's Bolt. But aside from that, the sleep spell is great. I actually appreciate that Magic Archer is the only one that can debilitate with sleep. But Magic Archer doesn't really benefit from putting something to sleep. If Magic Archer had daggers, then it would make sense, which is when Warfarer comes in. But for just Magic Archer, sleep is not benefited. I have not done much with Mystic Spearhand, but so far I see a lot of fancy animations, but not a lot of damage, which makes me feel like it's just going to be a show-off vocation of, look how awesome this attack looks. Watch, I'll latch on, now fly over here, and then I'll fly back over here. Did you see that? I took 1/10 of his health bar. That's kind of what it's really cool looking to like show off, but it doesn't seem like it's going to do very much damage overall. But I'll try again later and see. I have not touched Trickster at all, nor will I. And also, I'm probably not going to do much of Warfare. I did play Warfare as a thief for a long time, just to rank up all the loose vocations. And I can see that Warfare will be fun, making combos and such, but a lot of the most powerful skills are the Maester skills. So a thief will always be better than a Warfare thief, and a Magic Archer will always be better than a Magic Archer Warfare, although that sleep from Magic Archer and then Thief's heavy dagger attack or warrior heavy attack could be a fun setup, or Mystic Spearhand's fancy flying and launching and latching switched to a thief while climbing. That could be cool, but still, I would just rather be a thief. The enemy variety, I think it's alright. I think it's enough. Enemy intelligence, the AI, I think it's quite good. DLC will add on new enemies, and we've gotten a couple of new ones from Dogma 1, and also we've removed a couple from Dogma 1. But overall, I think it's pretty well. The DLC hopefully just kind of ends up being like Bitter Black again. Maybe we just get a giant dungeon to crawl around and new enemies and more spawns and more difficult enemies. Hopefully they throw that difficulty slider into the settings and they fix the inventory management. But I suppose that's about it. I'm enjoying the game. I'm enjoying most of the vocations. I really like Thief. I like Warrior. I like Fighter. And I like Archer. And I'll try to dabble a little bit into Spearhand a little more. See what that does. Until then, see ya.